Okay, we're on the home stretch. It's gotten dark since I was last recorded the last section, so hopefully it's not too dark so you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, I had some issues with this knit fabric because it is so stretchy. I mean, it's one of this, look how much stretch is in this. So it's that much. The more stretch you have in a fabric, of course, the harder it is going to be to sew. So before I even attempted to sew on my real piece, I took a couple of practice laps, if you want to say that, to see what stitch I needed to use, whether or not I needed to put tape underneath my pressure foot. You know that same trick where you take Scotch tape and you put it on the bottom of your pressure foot? Whoops. You could do that to reduce the drag if you want to try that. I'm not going to do it, but I haven't been doing it for the other knit, so I'm not going to do it now. I'm just using my regular pressure foot. What I found out is I've tried all my different knit stitches on my machine to see which works best on this, and what I've come up with is I've tried my diagonal. It's a diagonal straight across, that did not work. I tried my regular one up, one back. That was too much for this. So then I ended up using my regular zigzag stitch, and I have my machine set for stitch length 2.5 and a width of 4, and that seems to work. I also tried both of the different elastics, and because this is such a stretchy fabric, I'm finding out that the thicker Dritz elastic is working much better than the thin Sewology for this. And in fact, I got, this is that thicker elastic right here with that zigzag stitch. I only skipped one little stitch right here, so I think if I go slow enough, I'll be able to get all the way across the top of that tank top without missing a stitch. This is the hardest knit fabric to sew on. So if you can sew on rib knits, you can pretty much sew on t-shirt fabric, the regular knit fabrics, the interlocking knits, anything, but this is the biggest challenge you're going to face on your knit fabrics. I think. I could be wrong about that, but there's nothing really harder than these rib knits. Okay, so anyway, what I did is I took out my, this is the thicker Dritz, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on my top edge of my, this is my seam from the actual sewing piece. So then I'm going to cover this here, and I'm going to turn this down right until it covers the elastic, and then I'm going to put a pin in it. I'm going to put a lot of pins in this one because you want to hold this as stable as possible, being that the knit is just so flimsy and stretchable. So you want to keep it in as much good shape, as much of its real shape as possible without stretching it too far out of. But we are going on a curve, so you're going to have to curve your elastic. My advice as far as these pins go, so these yellowhead pins that you can get, I think they're also a Dritz product, but they're the quilting pins, and they've got the sharpest points on them, and they'll get right through the elastic and the fabric at the same time. Okay. Okay, I'm going to just, instead of boring you all the way across and taking up time on the video, I'm going to do that all the way across, and then I'll turn the camera back on. But see, even with just putting the elastic in this ribbing, I'm already getting a little bit of a stretch. So on this type of fabric, it's going to be virtually impossible to be perfect. but you're going to get it, because this is the same knit. You're going to be able to get a pretty nicely sewn. I didn't have any trouble with this one, and I think it's because the knit fabric is just a little bit heavier weight than this one. This is like really thin, and this has got some really good body to it. Okay, so let me finish pinning it, and then I'll come back and we'll sew it. Okay. Okay, I've got all my pins in, and what I want to show you is that you're going to have a little bit, because we made a curve around the top, you're going to have a little bit of pucker on the top, so we're going to have to work those puckers in. What you're really looking for is to make sure that you've got that nice arch right now in that fabric. I still have glitter everywhere from working on those headbands. Okay, so I'm ready to sew. I've got a lot of pins in here because I'm going to make sure that I don't stretch my fabric. So I know that if I get here and my fabric is bunching up, I'm going to have to lift my pressure foot up to relieve that tension. When it comes to sewing on these knits, the slower you go, the better finish you're going to have on the product. So I'm going to start with my zigzag. Like I said, I'm using a 2.5 stitch length and a stitch width and a 4 width. Okay, so let's just, okay, and as far as sewing, I am going to line my, this connection point right here in, let me see if I can show you on the machine. I'm going to try and line it up so that the very edge of that, where I pinned, is going to hit the middle of the pressure foot on the left side, so that when I make that zigzag, the zigzag on when it goes down on the left is just going to clear the fold over. I'm not finishing my edges because this is just for my granddaughter, but you know, if you were going to try and sell this kind of stuff professionally, you might want to think about getting a serger machine and being able to serge that. I guess these knits work fine on a serger machine, but I don't have a serger. So this is the best I can do. So I'm not finishing off this seam. So let's go ahead and backspace once just to do that. Okay, and then go forward. So what I found out is, and the reason why I went to that thicker elastic is because my feed dogs wanted to eat this knit. So I'm just going to help it get past that first point a little bit so I can get sewing. Okay. And like I said, if you get to that point and your fabric is bunching up, just lift your pressure foot and relieve that bunching. And slow and easy does the trick on these things. And whatever you do, do not stretch your fabric. If anything, you're pushing your fabric towards the pressure foot. But if you're sewing and you're finding out you're skipping a lot of stitches, you're going to have to go with a thicker needle, or try a different thread, or do a different stitch or something, because I don't know what else to tell you. Like I said, probably a thicker needle. But I would still go with a jersey knit needle, so you don't wreck your fabric. But it's a slow and steady does it. But if you can work on rib knits, everything else is going to be a breeze. It's going to be a breeze. It's going to be a walk in the park. Okay, I'm at the point where I've got that little bit of a bunching up because of that turn on the top of the knit, so on the top of the arch. So just work that in as best you can. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm only going through the elastic on the right. It's not going through the elastic on the left. Okay, that's it. Okay, let's see how it looks. I went so slow that, not bad. Not bad at all for, if I would have done a regular knit fabric, I wouldn't have had any stretch at all in that. But you know how stretchy that is. Okay, so here we go. Oh, I guess I could have kept it a little bit longer to hide her belly. But there's that. Okay, so now in the back we're going to decide what we want for a turn. So let me see if I get the camera in the right place. So we're going to turn this under about maybe 1/4 inch. Okay, and then on the other side we're just going to we're probably just going to zigzag this so it's got a clean finish, because we're going to put the Velcro on top of that. So we'll go about there. Okay, so we're going to do that and that. And that we're going to do with the Velcro, and then this we're just going to put on for the sleeves. The rest of it is just regular sewing. There's really nothing you really need that you don't already know how to do. It was just sewing with that elastic and getting these, so I think you can probably do the rest without a video. But anyway, whoops, didn't even catch. I'm going to sew these on by hand because when I tried sewing them on by the machine, I got a big mess on those pink ones. And it's so easy just to tack these down. So you can use the placement guide on the pattern if you ask for the pattern, or just try it on and pin these on, and you're going to have to cut off that extra length that we didn't need when we made that strap, because we added way too much fabric. We didn't need that much. But anyway, there you go. That's the tank top with the knits. And I did it again. Both sides, couldn't keep them on. But anyway, you get the idea. I know I'm running out of time because of the clock. So that is the rib knit tank with the elastic in the ribbing, and this is Kelsey's new tank top. And that's how simple it is to make these little tanks. So all I gotta do is sew the Velcro on and tack down the straps, and you're done. Okay, so I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye.